Fighting games have been called difficult, and the adage "get good" has been uttered for as long as I can remember. So long, in fact, that I had begun to take them as gospel. Yeah, if you've never played a fighting game before, you might as well not even try. This shit is just way too difficult. Too obtuse, and the time it will take for you, a total beginner, to get good, well, it's just not worth it. So there I was with the rest of the FGC yelling at DNF Duel and Street Fighter 6. Simple inputs will not help. You are ruining a game by adding stuff that the real fans don't care about and will only entertain the normies for a few weeks before they drop the game anyway. Why bother trying to get new people in? Well, let me tell you why to care. After watching the Street Fighter 6 teaser, I, just like the rest of the world, got intensely excited. So excited, in fact, that I dared to do what we've been mocking video game companies for decades. I showed the trailer to somebody who doesn't play it, namely my girlfriend. Quick little interruption, my girlfriend has been a gamer all of her life. Her games of choice usually hail from the Great Nippon and allow her to be a Japanese high school student who fights gods, romance some dudes, or a combination of the two. Or they are games in which she kills, captures, or raises monsters. And she really wanted me to show you her Urkel the Uragan. So, aside from having attained G rank with me in every Monster Hunter since 3 Ultimate, and having beaten the entirety of Hades before ever giving me a go, she really isn't all that big of a fan of action games. However, she does have an interest in martial arts, and practices a form of karate, so she is at the very least interested in the fighting aspect of fighting games. Anyway, back to the story. I show my girlfriend the Street Fighter 6 trailer, and like the time before, she gets excited for the sheer cinematic appeal of the fighting genre. She loves the little sparring session between Chun-Li and her disciple, but unlike other fighting game stuff I've shown her, she gets excited for the same reason and the same thing that has gotten me excited. Street Fighter 6 seems to have an open world. Even more so, there seems to finally really be a world for the world warriors to inhabit. It seems that for the first time in a very, very, very long time, fighting games may return to not only being about the fighting, but also just being games. This excitement has gotten my girlfriend so fired up that she wanted to try out DNF Duel. So that is what this video is about. The things I learned from watching my girlfriend go through DNF's tutorial and various combo trials. What DNF and fighting games do well, and the many things they can still improve on, and my hopes for the future of fighting games. So there we were. I gave my girlfriend my arcade stick and we plopped down on the couch to go through the first stages of the tutorial mode. And as tutorial modes go, DNF's does a lot well. Though there is a ton of reading involved, over half of the things it tries to teach you, it will want you to perform as well. So not only do you read about the guard cancel, but you have to perform it and see it. This is of course nothing new, as loads of other games do this as well. The tutorial section being all well and good, but mostly nothing special, the first thing I noticed catching my girlfriend's eyes was part of the specific character overview section. This section tells you about the specific mechanics your character may have, but more importantly, has you perform all of their moves. After performing one of the moves, a little text blurb shows up in the bottom right. This little text tells the player what the move exactly does and gives some examples on when to use it. This little addition, this very small addition to a section most fighting game tutorials have, is absolutely amazing. And without my girlfriend, I would not have realized why or what the genre as a whole can learn from this. So after doing each move, she sat there reading the description, and it dawned on me that this was the first time this game's tutorial had actually referred to a match and how something can be applied within the 1v1 scenario. You know, the entire point of the game. This event opened the floodgates of all unanswered whys this tutorial had left my girlfriend with so far. All the mechanics she had diligently learned to do and then executed to move on, but did not understand the necessity of. When the tutorial explained how guarding works, it did not explain the usefulness of the block button, namely not being able to be crossed up, and it did not tell why or when to guard, aside from the obvious to avoid getting hit. And it did not even explain that low blocking is preferred in 2D fighters. So explain to her the concept of turns. Explain that you generally always want to block low except against certain moves or when your opponent is in the air and jumping, and show that using the block button you don't have to worry about which side to block, just the high-low stuff I had explained before. Some questions later and we moved on to the combo trials. She was able to make it through a lot of them and kept going and going and going, even when it took a long time to get them just right. Grinding the combos was something my girlfriend had a lot of fun in. And I can only imagine this is because this game does not punish the player for making a mistake. When doing the combo trials in the previous Arc System Works title Guilty Gear Strive, you get a giant failure title on the screen every time you make a mistake, after which the game forcibly takes control away from you, resets, and counts down to give you another go. DNF, on the other hand, just by not doing this and letting the player keep trying and trying and trying, does a lot better in not frustrating a new player. Even more so, the little sound effect of clapping whenever a combo is done, even if it isn't the exact combo the game wants, can do a lot to make a player feel that they aren't failing or wasting their time, even if they haven't passed the trial they are stuck on yet. After moving through the combo trials and the tutorial, more questions of why and when came up. A big one was when she asked me what the point of the square attack even was. The square button being used for light attacks. This question absolutely stumped me for a bit. Not the question itself, but where it might have come from. I realized that all the combo trials she had been doing so far started from the triangle button. In other words, the heavy attack button. As answer, I explained that most characters can combo from their lights to their heavies, to their special moves, and finally to their MP attacks. And I showed her me doing light heavy, her uppercut special, into another light heavy, into an air tatsu MP attack move. She immediately did this and just sat in awe as to why the game had not explained this simple combo route to her. Then I further explained that starting with light heavy allowed you to confirm whether a combo hit or was blocked and decide what to do from there. This knowledge I then linked back to the topic of taking turns I had spoken to her about earlier. When she finally got the last combo trial for the night, I sat there thinking about the whole ordeal and came back with things every fighting game tutorial should be doing or should be doing better. For new players, it is incredibly important to understand when and especially understand why they are learning something. Not only for certain moves like DNF did, but for everything they are able and should be able to do. For some things, explaining why or when might bring with it very difficult concepts, like taking turns. But not explaining or talking about these things at all will just lead to the information that the games are teaching to become worthless, as there is simply no place for it to stick in a new player's mind. Another important thing is to always encourage, or at least try to not discourage new players through the tutorial mode. Giant failure screens definitely do have a place and time, but that place and time certainly is not at the start of a new player's journey. In my next video, I want to dive deeper into this topic, into the topic of broadening an audience of fighting game players by looking at accessibility and difficulty, but more importantly, by looking at the perceived accessibility and the perceived difficulty of certain titles, both older and upcoming. As always, I hope to see you in the next video, and take it easy.